Hello, 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 everybody. So, I wanted to come on today to talk about the slap heard around the world. Now, I don't know how much around the world since the Oscars are typically not getting a lot of viewership, but I know that I made it kind of a popcorn movie night last night, and we got to talk about Chris Rock and Will Smith. Now, let me tell you first of all, these are two very successful gentlemen of color. And here's what a lot of you may not know about people of color. A lot of us watched that last night and cringed. And we cringed for different reasons than you probably thought we would cringe for. Because we don't want to give white people any reasons other than the ones they've already made up about us to criticize us, to say things like, see, they can't handle this. They don't know how to do that. They don't know how to do that with their money. All of the things that we get criticized at a higher level. I mean, guys, you saw it with the Supreme Court Justice nomination hearings, approval hearings, or whatever you want to call them. The standards that we're held to are so much higher than your average white person. So as a Black person, we're always like, ooh, don't embarrass us. Ooh, don't say that. Ooh, don't make our race look bad. But what I saw last night when I watched it, and then it went silent, and so I had to really search to find out what was really said, and it was just like, what did I just witness here? What just happened here? I saw Will Smith as a man who has done a lot of inner work, a lot of personal development work, a man who has really evolved over the years, in spite of the situation that his early life experiences afforded him. Actually get caught up in his emotions, and his actions weren't aligned with the person, the best and highest version of himself. Let's say it that way. But I also saw Chris Rock do what he does as a comedian, and I can't help but think, when Ricky Gervais or other controversial comedians have been up there at award shows and some of the things that they've said and got canceled for. And also know that comedians will say things to embarrass you and make you feel bad. But I saw two men in their rawness, their vulnerability, their humanness. And I saw them as the men that they are, not just as Black men. And the first instinct is to see them as Black men and like, oh Lord, don't let them see us fight. They're going to be talking about us and blah, blah, blah. But I saw two human beings caught up in the emotion of the moment. And, here's the thing about Will Smith. I think it's an opportunity for him to really shine and rise above his actions and set an example for us. The first thing I thought was like, that's not a good example for your children, dude. But, as parents, we often don't set good examples for our children. And the fact that we're expected to 100% of the time puts undue pressure on us and undue pressure on them. When our kids have us on these pedestals, which we love for them to have us on, don't get me wrong, but it gets really hard to balance and stay up on that pedestal. And I think the powerful lesson is for our children to see us fall off that pedestal and see how we handle the fall. See how we get back up there. See how we adjust our crown. And in all of our humanness and vulnerability, see how we come out of it as a better, more evolved human being. And that's the opportunity I believe Will Smith has. What I saw in Chris Rock was someone who didn't escalate the situation and stayed professional and stayed on task. Now I'm reading things that he went off script. Well, that's what comedians do. They go off script. And you may not agree with the comedy, you may not like the comedy, but physical violence and abusive words are not acceptable ever. It doesn't mean they don't happen. Guys, we're not perfect. We are not perfect. It doesn't mean that it doesn't happen, but what it does give us an opportunity is to be real, authentic, and vulnerable about the humanness of our feelings and emotions, and have an opportunity to act as our highest and best selves when we do get knocked off the pedestal. So that's what I wanted to share about that. I'm not agreeing with anybody. I'm not disagreeing with anyone. There's a lot of emotions on both sides, I'm sure. That was really, in my opinion, of Chris Rock and my experience of what he's shown to the world, that particular behavior was out of character. And I personally think there's a deeper something going on between him and Chris Rock for him to react like that, because he went from smiling and laughing about it to all of a sudden going on stage and slapping Chris Rock, and how Chris Rock handled that. I think that's something that gets to be commended as well. So curious to hear what you guys think about that. Please share. And, there's no right or wrong answer here. Here's the thing, we all have opinions, and we don't have to agree with one another, but we can respectfully hear and seek to understand other people's opinions or point of view. And I think Will Smith has an opportunity to have a conversation with Chris Rock so that they both feel seen, heard, and understood, and can maybe together come up with some collaborative way to really teach all of their fans and followers how to handle situations of conflict like that. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I think they have a great opportunity to do. So let's see what happens. Let's see if egos can be reined in, and personal development, personal emotional intelligence can prevail in all this. All right. Thank you guys for watching. And please let me know if you're watching live or on the replay when you hear this. Bye.